get to this point. I think the reality is that we're still upset to this point. We didn't want to just get to this point. We want to keep going. But now we've set the standards that this is what it can become when you fully dedicate yourself to an entire offseason each and every day. That this is what it can become. This is the result. And you give yourself an opportunity, and through preparation and hard work, this is what happens. So obviously not the end result, but the reality is we have another year. And I think it sets a precedent for future guys that are coming to play here at Arizona State. Is that this is what we do. We want to compete for championships, and now we're in a position that we do compete for championships.
You may have already just answered this, but what specifically was said at halftime that set you guys on the right path?
That there's 30 minutes left. It's do or die. This is it. There is no next game. There is no tomorrow. We can guarantee one thing: if in 30 minutes, if we don't perform, we'll go home.
And who was the one that was sharing that message?
Xavier and Alfred, and I think it was echoed throughout everybody. Is that we have 30 minutes, right? And this is fun, right? You're competing against a great team. You're playing, as an offensive line, we're competing against a great defensive line. Is that this is what you want? You don't want it any other way, right? You don't want to go out and blow a team out. You want to be in a competitive game, double overtime, where it comes down to the final seconds, where both teams make big plays. We keep going until you get the result, and this wasn't the result that we wanted.
And as a unit, what adjustments did you guys make in the second half to be able to hold up a lot better than you did in the first half?
I think our composure. Our composure. Obviously, we're prepared. We knew where everybody was. We knew what moves they were throwing. But I think the reality is that settle down. That's something that I really harp on the offensive line. Me and Lee are very similar. Is that we're just very calm for the most part of the game, because offensive line, a lot of things come out of your control, right? Certain things happen that is unfortunate. So the reality is, as an offensive line, I think it's really important for you, yes, to play with tenacity. But I think it's important you have to be under control, because a lot of things happen in the game when they're shooting up and down.
Hey, Ben, so for a team like Texas, and with a narrative around the offensive or defensive line that's very impressive, did you notice right away that there was a noticeable difference between the difficulty of the opponent potentially for this game comparably to what you face in the Big 12 range?
I don't think so, because I think size-wise, there's guys that were big. We played Oklahoma State, and those are big guys as well, right? But I think the talent-wise, I think they're coached very well. I give them a lot of credit. I think the reality is I was in their strength coach, and in his program at Cal, Coach Torrey Beckton. So, and along with his staff with Castro, Gonzalez, Coach James. So the reality is that I know from a mental aspect where they're going, because that's how I started off my college career as a freshman, doing all the same things they did. So I knew from a mental aspect where they were going to go to. But the reality is that you winning so long and beating people, we wanted to take them to that place. We want to take them to that fourth quarter to put them in a close game where they feel like, man, if we don't get our act together, we could really lose. And I think we really put them in that place.
And just talk about the pride that you have for this team, win or lose, to be in this moment and be able to come back in this game and go out like this.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Everybody in that room wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We want to be the Sun Devil. I think the reality is, in the age of the portal, I know things happen. We talk about playing time, things like that. But if you go and ask every guy, they want to be here. They want to be at Arizona State. So we understand that guys want to get more playing time, and that's just the name of the game, right? It even happens in the league. But I think the reality is that everybody wants to be a Sun Devil at the end of the day. Especially playing for a head coach, the guys in the locker room, our culture. When we talk about life, there's little things: intensity, family, education, response, success. Talk about being a good person. Some things open the door. All those things have been adopted, from top to bottom. So I think it's been pretty cool as an old guy to be able to harp that to the young guys. And we've been pretty proud of guys and the steps that they've taken just in these 6 months. I think I'm really proud of all the freshmen that have been able on this ride. I talk about scout team and everything like that. And you have guys that have like Celeste Manu, that has been just fighting all year because he wants to play so bad, but he just understands that people want to be here. So I think it's important for all the guys in the locker room to understand is that when you walk in this locker room, head high, of course, because you're Arizona State Sun Devil, and there's nothing better in our opinion than being an Arizona State Sun Devil.
And is that where, because this is a team that seems like they just refuse to die, is that where that fight comes from?
100%. I think it comes from our head coach and goes all the way down, is that we're fighting for much more. We're fighting for our family. We're fighting for this university. We're fighting for a university that gets so much disrespect. There's a whole bunch of things. I saw on Twitter that somebody ordered a coffee mug and it had the Team Down South logo on it. Stuff as simple as that. When you talk about ESPN and things like that, where they're switching up, nobody cares. Nobody gives the respect. So the reality is our goal is to kick the door in every time we have the opportunity to.
And do you feel like you earned that respect today?
100%. I think I earned that respect, but to be truthfully honest with you, I think the reality is that next season I think it still will be some disrespect, because they want to see you guys had your Cinderella story. We'll see if it's still a Cinderella story.
Ben, do you have anything to say about quarterback Sam Lavetti, and obviously being a redshirt freshman coming in so young to this big bright light moment? He played pretty well considering how good of the opponent you guys are facing. What do you make of his play and how he kind of helped you guys out today in a lot of ways?
Sam played great. Sam is tough. The reality is that Sam believes that he's the best quarterback in the nation. I personally believe he is, because he's not. Anybody's opinion doesn't necessarily matter because he's not even there yet. He's not even where he wants to be. I get to see the mistakes. I get to see the mistakes in practice. I get to see the bad days when things aren't going right. I get to see those attitudes. So I'm a direct example of seeing that translate on the biggest stage. So I think it's important for people to realize is that you can judge his stats and the things he does, but the reality is that people in this locker room understand how far he's come from when he first stepped on campus as an early enrollee to the point he is now. That's not the way you want to finish the game. It's something that he's going to think about for a long time, but the reality is that Sam wants it that way. Sam wants the ball in his hand, second overtime, and having the ability ability to make a play. And I think the reality is that he made a whole bunch of big plays. So I think the reality is that, the mistake at the end of the game, was it tough? Yes. But to a guy like Sam, he'll be back and he'll be better, and I'm excited to come back. And that's one of the reasons that I did come back. You got to block for a guy like that.
And then losing one of your major teammates on the offensive line front in Leaf, and you kind of being the head leader now of the offensive line going forward into next year. What do you make of your role for this team going forward, and kind of how you can impact not only the position group but the offense and the team as a whole?
When you talk about filling that role, I think my role doesn't necessarily change, right? I know he's gone, but the reality is that I'm a big relationship person. I have a lot of small relationships. My dad always told me is that, people forget what you say, people forget what you do, but they never forget how you make them feel. So I think it's important for me to understand is being able to have that relationship so that when it comes to hard criticism to a guy, whether that be Max, whether it be Josh, whether it be Sean, whoever it would be, is that our relationship is so strong and they understand is that this criticism is coming for love. And those guys already understand that. So I'm excited. I'm excited for those guys to come back. I'm excited for our bond to be even stronger because the more time we have, the better it will be. Appreciate you, man.